Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. We're back out here Tuesday morning, back in the shop. Had a fun weekend camping over Labor Day, just time with family and just catching up on hanging out time, I guess. Want to thank all the new subscribers, all the people jumping on board. Last video did very well. We're gonna continue on this build, get further on that. There's stuff we need to get done to the International so we can go to Rod Run next weekend. There's just a lot of stuff going to get done in this video, but appreciate all you new people that are on board and all the people that have been with me from the beginning. You guys just make this more fun to do. So I know that I got people watching, the people that care, and the people that want to see what's coming next. So it gives me motivation to keep doing this for you guys. So we're going to get started on the white truck today. I think I'm going to use some metal I have back here in the corner, and we're going to plate in some of where we did this notch last week and get that done, and then get the rear cab mounts done, and then start looking at the stuff up front, getting a radiator intercooler mocked up so we know how far to move the engine back, pull the cab back off. Yeah, we got a lot to do. So try to get some of those things accomplished this week before we head to Rod Run. My wife and I are going down a little early, so we'll be down there Saturday and be there all week, and then be down there for Smoky Mountain Truck Fest and Rod Run. But we do have those bags that are rubbing up front on the truck. I have 2 new ones ordered. They will be here this week sometime, but I still don't have those arms that I ordered. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to bash anybody on here. I'm just not doing it. But they haven't showed up yet. I'm not getting emails back. It's a little frustrating, but we got to do what we got to do. Life goes on, and the truck has to put some miles on it next month. Tennessee twice, and yeah, so we can't have bags rubbing anymore to do all that. So plates cut out, and they will fit. Let me see if I can do it with one hand. Fit under the bottom like that, and we will burn them in under there, under the bottom. Already cleaned all that up, and then I'm going to take a big hammer and we're going to fold this top over, because yes, I have a metal brake, but it will not bend this stuff. It is too thick. So maybe someday I'll have one that will, but right now we're back to old school. So we'll weld the bottom of them, or at least a couple stitch welds on the bottom to keep it there. And then I might put a little heat to that edge and fold it over on top of this, and then we'll weld it onto there and repeat that on that other side. And we'll have that frame boxed in. And then we will move on to these rear cab mounts today. Both sides plated in. That ought to strengthen that up a lot. Both sides are done. They're welded in nice and good. Ain't no professional welder, but I think they'll hold. They're welded in on the bottom as well. So I think that'll definitely help strengthen where that Z-notch was that we did, putting the 2 frame pieces together. And we're going to be plating this outside. I mean, that deck's going to end up somewhere up here with how that back to level it up. So then there'll be plates that'll close that in. It'll come clear down to the bottom of the frame down here. So that'll help plate all this in as well. And you'll never see it. So, well, on to some cab mounts. I think I'm gonna figure out how to put mounts on both sides back here for the back of the cab so that we can move on forward to the front of the truck as well. But just want to get these done so that nothing was going to move back here and everything's going to stay where it was. Well, here's what we got. I think I'm going to use these mounts. These are off the Dodge, and they're just going to go on the side of the frame like that. And we're going to put one of the rubber isolators or whatever in there that's off the Dodge, and drill us a hole through this plate up here. It goes right into the cab, and we'll put that dude in there. Obviously, I'm going to cut this back about here where my thumb is, and get this to go back against the frame further so we can get a little more centered under this piece of what we got left over there sticking out, and mount that dude up. I got the little bit of gap there on both sides, got it lifted up with jacks right now, and the cab's level to the frame, so I think that's where I'm going to set it at. So we got to get these cut down a little bit and get them fit a little better. Well, we got our rear cab mounts on. They're burning on this side and they're on the top. I didn't do the back side yet. I'll wait till I pick the cab back up and make it easier to get in there. But I don't know if you can see it up in there. There's a little spacer that I got that's on top of the mount because, you know, this piece only has, you know, a wing on one side. The other side is not there. So I have to have that spacer in there so it has something to actually sit on that's level, so that the mount sits on there right. So I cut those, they're exactly the same. Put a level on this back piece, everything's level. So I'm gonna get under here now and drill a hole up through this piece and through the floor, and that way we can run a bolt through, and that'll be how that mounts. So I'm gonna get the drill out and do that, and these back cab mounts will be pretty much done. Well, we're heading up front now. We got those back mounts accomplished, and we got to figure out what we're going to do up here. Obviously, this engine still needs to be moved back. I don't have that done yet. You can see that, yeah, there's no room for anything up here as far as a radiator intercooler. So with my truck, I got 3rd gen stuff in mine because my truck's obviously 3rd gen. So I have this radiator and intercooler in mine. So the 2nd gen radiator intercooler is there and there. And I wasn't so sure these were going to fit just because they're wider. You know, you can see just by looking at the two of them that the 2nd gen stuff is a lot wider and shorter, and the 3rd gen stuff is narrower and taller. So I did some measuring. I didn't think they were going to fit, so I thought, well, easy fix. I'll just go get those others, and we'll use them instead. The thing I didn't think about was that my truck has a rack and pinion steering in the front. This has a gearbox. So with mine, I actually notched down into the frame to allow the intercooler and the radiator to actually sit down further. Well, I don't think we can do that. That gearbox isn't going to go anywhere very easily. So now I'm a little bit scratching my head about what I'm going to do. I may try to go back to this 2nd gen intercooler and radiator. Yeah, we're going to be really tight, like over into these edges. But what I'm thinking is if I can not keep it tight here, if I can space it back into here, you can see this grows. I get more space back here. So I think that we may be able to make them still work. And since they're shorter, they'll be above the gearbox. That's kind of my thought at the moment, but it's going to be really hard to mock them up with this engine and stuff in the way. So I think what I'm going to do now is I got kind of the lift set under here a little bit. We're going to go and take the cab mount bolts back out, and we're going to get this cab off of this thing. And I'm going to roll the chassis back, maybe outside a little bit. I'm going to use my engine hoist and go on ahead and get this engine and tranny out of this thing. We're pretty much at 0, so I know that anything I'm going to have to do as far as radiator intercooler. The engine's gonna have to go back whatever that spacing is that we need. So I don't really need to take any measurements or need this really in here to mock it up, because you know that's where it's going to be, is where it's going to be. So that'll help determine how far we got to move this back in the frame. So I guess I better get to doing that and see if we can answer some of these questions so we can keep moving forward on getting this radiator intercooler in there, and then get the engine obviously set where it needs to be, and then get this the front body mounts on that'll hold up these two fenders and the front clip of the truck. So, well, let's put this new lift to good work and good use and get it off this frame and get the engine out of this thing. Well, I'm gonna head to the house and get Max out, since apparently you guys want to see him all the time now. Don't care about what I'm building. You want to see the stupid dog. That's okay. He's fun. So we're gonna go get him out of the house and let him hang out for a little bit, since I'm not gonna be doing any welding or cutting or anything anymore. So he can run around out in the shop. Are you still sleepy? I can put you back inside if that's what you want. Hey, are you still tired? Huh? Yeah, still a little bit sleepy. I woke him up, so I'm sure he's, oh my goodness. Yep, he's still a little bit tired. That's all right. I need to get you out running around so that you'll sleep tonight some, huh? Looks naked. Ain't much there without the motor in it. It's out here sitting on the ground. The only issue I ran into was this one engine bolt would not come out, and it was stuck in the rubber, and it was hung up to the point where it was pinching itself against this mount here, and because of that it wouldn't come out. The engine wouldn't come off the, you know, out of those notches. So I did have to cut that. I didn't want to, because now I still got to get it out or put a whole new engine mount in it, which I don't want to do either. So I'm sure it'll come out with some, you know, you don't really have any room. You can't really swing a hammer from this side, and you definitely can't from that side. So we'll get it out though. But now that this thing is stripped off, I'm going to finish welding the back side of these cab mounts that I didn't get because they were under the truck. So I'm going to do both of those. And then we're going to shove it back in here under this guy and put those mounts back in and see what we can figure out with this front stuff. See if we really do have enough room. We'll do some more trimming up here. Man, it's nice to have a lift. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. Anyways, but trim some of this stuff off. You know, I may cut the rest of this inner fender well out. Todd said he wasn't too worried about them, so we may go in and cut the rest of them out as well, just so they're out of the way. But, yeah. Trying to figure out if it's going to fit in here or not, the radiator and intercooler, because of that gearbox we talked about earlier. So let's get a little welding and shove this dude back in and get it bolted back up and see what we find. got the cab sitting back down. Definitely got a lot more room now than we used to. Maybe we ought to go Tesla with this thing. What do you think, Todd? Get rid of that big diesel? Yeah, me either. I think we'll stick with the diesel. Anyways, let's see. We're going to check some clearances here. I'm going to get that intercooler setting up in here and see if we can figure out if it's going to work or not. And maybe do some trimming on some of this stuff and maybe cut those inner fender wells out. And I don't know, just trying to get a better idea of how stuff's going to fit in here. And because of that gearbox, it's going to complicate things a little bit, but we'll figure it out and make it happen. That's part of custom work. You have to adapt to whatever you have. Well, that's not quite back far enough. But yes, we were hitting there, but if you look straight back, there's actually, I think, a little more room back in this area. I don't know. We got the old tape measure. We're going to see if we can figure that out. But, man, it is so close. I sure hope it'll fit back in here. If not, I don't know. I guess if we can keep cutting into this piece behind this front shield where it's back behind the headlight, maybe you wouldn't see it. But, or not back behind the headlight, back behind, you know, where this piece comes in. So if we cut out some of this back in here, you wouldn't see it maybe. But then we're going to have issues with intercooler boots, and I don't know. We'll just get the tape measure and do some measuring and see if we can figure this out. Try something here. This is actually the 3rd gen intercooler. Just because it's a little narrower, but I got it so where it would fit in here now. But I don't know, because we're still like 4.5 inches above this piece here. So let's go look at the my International, and see how much space there is from here up under the hood. I don't know if that'll work or not, but guess you never know until you try it. We're out here at the International. Let's see what the verdict is. I don't know. I got a feeling we ain't got enough. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not so sure we got enough room there. Yeah. That's not going to work. As you can see, my stuff sits down more, but like I showed you guys in the last video that, you know, I'm actually down into the frame down in there on mine, and there just isn't that room for Todd's, so because of that gearbox. Well, crap, I guess that's not going to work. So guess we'll have to do some more cutting and see if we can get the 2nd gen intercooler in there. I'll do some measuring, we'll do some trimming here and see if we can get it to fit. Well, I guess we are back to this now. I did a little measuring, and yeah, it's just way too tight. I need like another inch, another half on each side would be awesome. But that's the main support, that piece right there. And it bolts through the fender to an arm that comes up under the fender here. I just really don't want to cut into that. But I'm going to go inside for tonight and call her quits and think this over, because I don't love the way it's looking at the moment. And we will revisit this tomorrow and see if we can figure out something better. Well, we're out here trying to get this figured out. I had the idea of maybe flipping the intercooler over so that, you know, this more narrow part would be at the bottom and the wider part at the top. I thought that may work, but the problem is that this little notch here, get you guys a little closer, this little notch here that's in the radiator is what sits down in for the intercooler. So the radiator then won't fit down far enough in the intercooler because it'll hit these up here. So that ain't gonna work either. So we're back to, I pretty much exhausted everything I could figure out to try to flip those around. I try to use the 3rd gen stuff. This gearbox is the problem, but we can't move the gearbox, so it's gonna stay there. So here's what we're gonna do. Instead of just cutting all this out and past that point of no return and not be able to put it back in, I'm going to unbolt everything. We're going to take the 4 bolts off that are there, take these out, unbolt all this, and we're just going to take that piece out for the moment because it's not holding anything other than holding some of this stuff kind of together. But we're holding the front end of the truck up with a lift, so those aren't bearing any weight right now. So I'm going to take all those nuts and bolts out on each side and pull these main pieces out and just see if we can get the space we need to get the intercooler down in there the way that it was designed to be, you know, not upside down like it is. It is in there, but it is extremely tight. It's actually pushing fairly hard against the sides, but it is lower than the top of that, and it's well off of the gearbox. I think that may work. So let's go get the radiator and set it in behind it and see if it will be happy there or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the hood's going to close over top of the radiator cap there. I don't know. We're down as far as we can go. It's hitting right there where my finger is against the intercooler tube there. But it's supposed to saddle its way in there like you see. But I don't know if it's too high or not. I'm not sure. Or even if it's too wide to these edges. I mean, I know them hoods give a pretty good arc to them, so I don't know, but it sure looks like it's in there, so that's at least good. But the only thing I'm not going to like from the front view, which maybe we can figure out something, is there's quite a hole under there. Maybe we can put something there to make it look okay. I'm going to set the grill up there and we'll see what I'm saying and see if it looks maybe okay. It's not as noticeable as I thought. Thought it might look weird not seeing a radiator or intercooler behind there, but you can't really, you can kind of see through it a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be as bad as I thought. But we can still close that off with something as well, just to keep debris and stuff from flying in against the front of the motor and stuff. But I think that's going to work. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the piece that goes across here back in it, and I'm going to set the hoods back on it and see if we got enough space there or not. Camera magic here. I didn't take that stuff out. Oh, if it'll come up. It's still in there. Looks like it clears fine. I think we're good. I wasn't sure, but I think that's going to work out. Now, yes, it's going to be a real pain to figure out how to make mounts over here around all this stuff, but hey, at least we know it fits. That was the goal. Now the truck can have an intercooler and a radiator, so at least that's positive. So, but yeah, I don't know if we can see in there enough. I think it all clears. Let me check this side. But I think we're good. Okay, awesome. Progress. Like to see that. Obviously, it's not mounted on there, so don't freak out too bad, but at least give us the best idea that it's all going to fit. So that's the hard part, is getting everything stuffed under those hoods. So I guess the next thing to do is to figure out what we're going to be doing for mounts down in there. That's where we're going to end it off this week. Have a short week. I got to do some work on the truck to get it ready for Rod Run and Smoky Mountain Truck Fest. So I'll put the dates up here for those. If any of you guys are down in the Tennessee area, or maybe you're coming, I think a bunch of us are going to be sitting at, I think it's called the Buzz Bowl. It's an ice cream. It's a buzzed ice cream place or something like that. Corey and Hannah sit there every year. And I think Austin and Caitlin are going to be there. I think Peace and Grease is going to be there. I don't know who else is going to be there. There's probably more people I'm forgetting. I'm sorry. But there will be a group of us sitting there with our trucks in the evenings. So that'll be cool. And maybe some during the day. Just depends. And we will be sitting in the outside VIP up at the Smoky Mountain Truck Fest. So if any of you guys are coming to any of those, look us up and come say hi and check the truck out. But that's going to do it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching. God bless. We'll see you on the next one.